I mean, you said it's, what, almost a million? A million free XP. 990,000 free XP. God damn, dude. Okay, versatile damage dealer. Swift medium tank, tailored for sniping, also very good at causing damage from mid-range. Able to take both precision and snapshots, making its tactics highly flexible. Playing it requires concentration and tactical awareness, especially at mid-range, but can be highly rewarding. Also, the vehicle's undeniably British looks, which is definitely a plus. You're damn right it is. I know something else with British looks. James McAvoy. Standard 120mm alpha damage, 390 goes up to 480. It's as average as you could ever hope to find. 268, that feels very APCR to me as a value. 330 feels like heat though, and it does look like it carries the nice HE that the British have, as well as this is more German HE though than British. With British values, you'd expect to be seeing like 120. I think they do have 1 of 5 values as well, but you'd hope for like 120 or 140 if they were being chieftain about it. 480 alpha, a little disappointing with HE, you'd like that to be 515. St. Axe is the same stats, okay. So St. Axe gun, basically. 1,900 HP, 55 top speed, for a British medium tank, you can't complain about that. 25 in reverse is fairly pleasant, though. I guess the apt comparison here is going to be the Centurion Axe, right? If we're talking about gun performance at the very least. Maybe a combination between the St. Axe and the Leopard 1? Well, the Leopard having 420 alpha is very nice. Yeah, Centurion only has 20 in reverse. That's interesting. 25 in reverse. I'd be curious about the gun depression of this thing. So APCR heat, 0.27. 0.27. St. Axe is 0.32. 0.27 is wild. It's even got better aim time. God damn, dude. HE, 1,200 meters per second. 1,500 meters per second with standard APCR. And the heat is even 1,200. Gun time 8 seconds. What is the DPM? Do we actually have a, let's see, so it's 20,000. So it is exactly the same gun. It's just a St. Axe gun. More accurate with the same DPM. More accurate, better aim time. Okay, I guess it's nerfed in other capacities, we'll see. Are we just making the St. Axe irrelevant? I don't know. Ammunition 50, that's fine. 10 degrees of gun depression. Any caveats to that? Let's have a look. Oh, oh, that's a heap of laughs right there. Oh, look at that booty. Ladies and gentlemen, we have -1 gun depression over the ass of this tank. Oh, it feels like a Leopard 1, very much. Making apt comparisons. Let's get our Leopard, shall we? Leopard 1, ladies and gentlemen, if we look at the booty of the Leopard 1, it's got 0 degrees of gun depression over the ass. Literally can't aim down. And this is bad on the Leo 1. You feel this occasionally. If you're running away and you want to take a shot or something, you have to go like this. You have to turn like that and then point your gun like over there, because if you don't, you're just going to get screwed by the gun depression. The reason this is particularly amusing to me is because I know if I get an object 140 or something and I track this thing, I'm gonna just sit right here, and the only thing you can aim at is like maybe the tip of my cupola. Like, look at that gun. It can't aim down. Oh, that's adorable. Okay. 20 degrees of gun elevation. Nothing really special about that. Consumer moving vehicle, 10%. Is it stealthy? That's the question. Leopard 1. I hope we'll have better camo. 10%? Not a huge amount of difference. The Centurion's a really big tank. So yeah, the Centurion's got worse camo. It's setting itself up so far to be a very, a sort of Leopard 1-ish tank. I also see 410 meters of view range, which is the same as the Centurion and the Leopard 1. There's a lot of tier 10 medium tanks that are actually rocking 410 meters of view range, I believe. Am I wrong for thinking TVP has it? Yeah, TVP. Here's why the gun performs better. 60mm of front armor, 30mm. Now, 30mm on the side is like approaching 50B territory. Now, the 50B has a remarkable hull because frontally it's one of the best hulls in the entire game. People will shoot at the front of a 50B and they will bounce ridiculous shots off this thing. I mean, as an example, I have bounced entire clips from fellow autoloaders by poking the lower plate of the 50B around the corner like this. And if you look at it visually, right, that looks like a shot that you can pin, but you can't. And the reason I bring up the 50B is because this is a tank that, very much like the Foch B or the Foch 155 before they get their armor buffed, if you connect anywhere on the site with literally any gun in the game at tier 10, you are going to pay because it's 30mm, and 30mm at tier 10 gets overmatched by everyone. I don't think there is a 90mm gun in the game at tier 10. Maybe like a stock Batchat 25T, but even mid-tier Batchat has a 105, I think, and it goes up to 120, as far as I know. Could be talking at my ass, but I think that's the case. But I can only imagine that the Vickers is going to have problems. Oh god. Yeah, you cannot side snipe in this thing. That is a straight up, oh my god. Oh, it's even, look at the profile, it's even worse. Yeah, if this thing ever tries to side snipe against you, like, you don't even have to go for the overmatch, because you got this cheek armor, right? 47! My god. Okay, so we know where to put HE shells. Is that a Tiger P? Hang on. So it's flat onto you. Please be like a auto ricochet angle. Don't be like 60 or something. Oh no. Okay. Moderate consolation. The frontal armor is enough to make it so that you get pinned by high pen like HE. The Heshes, the high pen HE on like a Leopard or maybe a Rhinoceronte loaded with 4 HE would be going through this. But even like 105mm HE, like it's 50% chance. Like the frontal armor is good enough to stop it being like having like a CDC issue or something like that. And you see that on the Batchat as well. If we take the Batchat 25T, a lot of people think of the Batchat as having no armor whatsoever, they're inclined to fire HE at it. Well, the Batchat's got 60mm on the front, so it's enough that, you know, it's 120. And then 50 on the lower plate, like, you cannot pen HE on the front of the Batchat, but it's enough that you gotta give it a little bit of respect. And this is the same thing. It's even better armored. So that's a mild comfort. But one thing that you can know is if it's angling like that, if it's presenting any kind of angle, you can pen any HE shell in the game at tier 10. Right here. That is a serious boon to engaging this tank if it's angled, because let's face it, in a tank like this, in no situation is it going to be facing you like this. Like, you're never going to see it just sat like that. Someone's always going to be like that, using a bit of gun depression over line maybe. And if you see that, ooh, that is big. That is, I mean, you can use this sort of toolbox or whatever it is here as an indicator for where to shoot, if you see it visually. What about the turret? Oh, hold up. It looks like it's got a bit of gun metal. We'll look at that in a moment. Turret on 80, didn't look like it. Turret traverse 48, that's really good. Mobility, 22 horsepower per turn. That's not as much as you'd think. Oh, it's actually better than the Leo. I thought the Leo was higher. 25 was in my mind for the Leo. And again, I guess the Leo has way better top speed. 22's decent. It will feel fairly mobile, right? 50 horsepower. 55 top speed might actually feel a bit limiting in this tank, because that's like object on 40, 907 territory, you know? Make sure you look at with APCR. What, you mean shooting it with APCR? Oh, the gun antler. Ah. Yes. Never mind. Never mind. Forget I... Oh, yeah, I was looking at it with Hesh. Yeah, okay. Forget I said anything. I was like, okay, it's got a gun mantlet. I like it. Gun mantlet is really thick, but everything else is garbage. I was gonna be okay with that. Like, having these bits weak, but having like a 400mm gun mantlet gives it a little something. Capola? Oh no. Oh boy. That mother big. 40. There's no spaced armor anywhere on that either. That is HE shells for days, you get a shot of that. Well, this thing's gonna make me so tempted to just fire HE. Oh my god, it gets overmatched as well. I mean, I guess I can't complain at that point. Does the Leo get overmatched? It'd be really funny if the Leo doesn't get overmatched. The Leopard 1 doesn't have an overmatchable. Oh, thank God. Thank God. Whew. Really glad that the Leopard 1 has 52mm of armor, so it doesn't get overmatched when it's held down. The Leopard of all tanks, has a 52mm loot plate to prevent the overmatch. Vickers is just like, nah, we'll go with 25. You know, there's a lot of 75 and under millimeter guns at tier 10, so that's a thing. Alright, nothing to speak of in the armor department. The only things we only want to raise are the fact that it's completely and utterly mediocre. Honestly, if you don't want to go for the cupola shot, which I guess you should because it's huge, but as a Dystonia man in training, I probably will miss that shot. If I've got like 100mm of pen, I might go for here. Like, this reminds me of how you engage a KV2 with another KV2. And I will elaborate on that just quickly. I will grab a KV2. The KV2 is an interesting one. Oh god, it's got the... hang on. There we go. So the KV2, when you're looking to pen it with HE, you've got really two options. It suffers very much from like the KV1 issue, and I'm jumping from tank to tank all over the place. This is really interesting though. The KV1, weakest armor anywhere on the front of the tank is actually the upper plate. A lot of people think, oh, KV1, I'm going to have to shoot the lower plate. No, the lower plate is thicker than the upper plate. Unless you are shooting from below it, and I mean really below it, shoot the upper plate of the KV1. It is 60. So many people think that this thing has a lot of armor. It does. It's a well-armored tank, but only if you give it respect. If you don't respect it and you just shoot it straight in the upper plate, you'll pen every single time. And that is true of the BDR, the T1 Heavy, the T14. There's a lot of tier 5 heavies that have this odd weakness. I covered it in my low tier weak spots video. But the KV2 has a similar thing. Upper plate is viable. It's at a stricter angle. Hang on, is it viable? Oh no, it's viable for AP, isn't it? Yeah, so if you find AP, and this is with the, hang on, I'm being dumb. There we go. And this is AP with 110mm of pen. This is standard HE. So if you find AP, you go for the upper plate. And that applies with basically any HE that you fire, because it's essentially the same as the KV1. But if you find HE, you can go for the upper plate. But as you can see, 25%. What you're going instead for is you go for the tongue. There was always a KV2 skin that we used to play with. It was called the KV2, and it was pink and colourful, had rainbows on it, and it stuck its tongue out right here. And you always went to give it a tongue piercing. That's what you wanted to do. Give it a tongue piercing, because you just shoot here. It's always flat, right? Because the KV2 is always aiming at you. If it's like this, hang on. If it's like this, then the upper plate shot is going to be even worse. Hang on. Why did it get better? There you go. Alright, upper plate shot is even worse, but the KV2 is aiming at you. So it's always a flat angle. And I feel like we might have a similar thing in the Vickers. If I'm looking to pen it with HE, sure, it might be going back and forth, it might even be wiggling the tongue, but this thing, I feel like might be a better shot for me. Because even if I miss this, I'm going to hit the upper plate, or I'm going to maybe hit the gun antler and might get absorbed. Yeah, that's going to be a bounce. But I feel like this is going to be the better shot for me than the cupola if someone's playing well against me. Let's keep going. What else do we have to look at? Gameplay features. Gun, precision, and DPM. 105mm gun is one of the best at tier 10, the most precise with outstanding aim time and stabilization, and maximum depression angle of 10 degrees. If we look at the stabilization, I'm curious. So dispersion factors on the Centurion, 0.10, 0.10, 0.8. On the Vickers, 0.10, 0.10, 0.8. So it's the same as the Centurion. The Centurion doesn't have a bad gun, mind you. 0.27 dispersion. It's gonna be wild. You can probably get away with not using vert stabs on this tank if you wanted to, I would imagine. But yeah, the gun is gonna be solid on this vehicle. Maximum depression angle of 10 degrees, very British. DBM can exceed 3.4 HP per minute with crew perks and equipment. On top of that, Sheller Veteran type travel really fast with good pen. Mobility. Vickers, very decent base top speed, which can be improved to 60 with a turbocharger, complemented by excellent specific power, giving it good acceleration. This enables you to quickly leave positions once spotted, change directions multiple times during a battle, have plenty of flanking opportunities. View range with a base value of 410. Vickers' excellent sight gives you a good chance to notice enemies before they spot you. Together with the tank's mobility, accuracy, this can keep you out of trouble as the armor shouldn't be relied on. Gameplay tips for success: snipe, shoot from the hip, okay. Use every shield type, stay alert and change positions. Vickers should be on the move most of the time, switching to the second and third lines of battle. Camo value is very good but not excellent. You should avoid exposing the tank to enemy fire until the very end of the battle. This is good advice from a lot of people, and it's something that I harp on quite a lot. Stay alive. Stay alive. And more importantly, in a tank, well, less importantly in a tank like this is more pertinent for tanks like Backtrack 25T, 50B. Keep your hit points. Right, because hit points in an autoloader are more valuable than hit points in a regular tank because of the dynamics of how they play. But this is a very defensively orientated tank. It is a combination between a Centurion Axe and a Leopard 1, and I think it's going to be a decent vehicle. Will I get it? I mean, probably, but only because I have a load of stuff. I think it would be a decently fun vehicle. I don't think it's bad from the looks of things. It's not going to be overpowered. It's not. Is there any reason to play any of the tanks that it's a combination of? Yes. The Leopard 1 is faster. I believe it has slightly better camo. It has slightly better alpha damage. I believe its HE is 515 as opposed to 480. Its alpha damage with APCI is 420. Shells fly a tiny bit faster, which isn't really hugely relevant. It's a faster vehicle, I guess. Gun depression is a little worse, and it's got 0 over the ass, but the Vickers is -1. Trying to think, and there's certainly still a place for the Centurion Axe, as Minesworth says. If you are going to pick a tank to sort of be a front support in like a medium tank confrontation, then the Cent Axe would do that better than the Vickers by merit of having a bit of turret armor, right? Being able to kind of pseudo role. This very much can't fulfill that role. So it's far more likely in the gameplay sense to replace the Leopard than it is to replace the Centurion Axe, because the Centurion Axe armor dictates that it has potential to fulfill roles that armor is essential for. I think it's decent. I think it's closer to a Leopard than it is to a Centurion Axe, because we've got to think about gameplay dynamics, and armor dictates that hugely, more so than gun performance. But yeah, it's a slower Leo 1, basically. What's the accuracy of the Leo 1? 0.28. Okay, 0.29 base. So, got a better aim time, though. It's basically a Leo 1 with better DPM that is slower with 1 degree more gun depression. I mean, play the Leo 1, to be honest. Like, it's got a top speed of 70. Admittedly, that's only valuable when relocating, but I feel like if you're doing a direct comparison, given the gameplay dynamics that these tanks are embodying, which is that defensive second, third line support tank and sort of endgame dominance, you know, being able to exploit when a load of tanks have died and there's only like 4 or 5 tanks left on the battlefield, being able to get around, get in position, snipe, take advantage. I feel like the Leopard 1's better at that role, because that top speed, being able to get around at 70, admittedly with like 1.5 less horsepower per ton, but it's going to get up to that top speed and it's going to be able to relocate. Like, my biggest question about the gameplay implications of the Vickers is it has better DPM, it's more accurate with a worse aim time. When, in the gameplay that is exhibited by these tanks, second, third line sniping support, when are you using your max DPM? Is there ever a circumstance where, okay, yeah, I'm firing all the time? No, right? That's for a close quarters tank when you're in there and you're flanking something. That's when your full DPM comes out. When you're playing defensively, at distance, you can't dictate that, okay, my reload is better, so I'm gonna fire, and I'm gonna fire, and I'm gonna fire again, I'm gonna press that DPM, because the enemy is 400 and 500 meters away, right? So I don't know how relevant the DPM advantage is going to be over the alpha damage. If we're taking 2 tanks at distance, we're saying, okay, both are in the sniping role and they're supporting, I kind of value the additional 30 alpha damage that the Leopard is going to have, rather than the accuracy of the Vickers. Admittedly, the accuracy is nice. At this point, 0.27 to 0.29, they're both gonna hit their shots majority of the time. The fire rate decides you're gonna use your max DPM. Yeah, I can see the merits of that. The DPM differences between like something with a Global 15 or the longer reload dictates whether you're gonna get full DPM at distance. It's interesting. I don't think it's gonna be an overpowered tank. I think it will be good. I think it is high skill cap. I think a mediocre player will have mediocre games in this thing, but I think good players are going to be able to do very well with the assets that it provides. Is it worth getting? If you have a Leopard 1, probably not. You're not getting anything from this that you couldn't also get from a Leopard 1, in my opinion. Bear in mind, I haven't played it. I am just looking at the statistics and trying to interpolate where it will sit in terms of gameplay. But my estimation is that it's going to be very similar to a Leopard 1.
Peabody, cheers from Germany, man. Thought I'd had a couple silly verses, my friend. He is a nice guy like Ned Flanders, but wielding a band hammer that make viewers feel him like a gang member, yeah. You better never ever shoot versus the man, cause that's a jerk of his hand, hence you're a permanent ban, yep. Like in a roleplay game, you wield a dagger but get smashed from Harvey.